Welcome to the dynamic learning hub of XLR at Andheri East. A prime spot conveniently located at just a 5-minute walk from LIC Andheri Metro. In our journey of over a decade, we have proudly trained over 2 lakh students. We have also been recognized by Deloitte, Silicon India, and other accreditation bodies. Experience learning like never before in our spacious and comfortable classrooms. With high-definition projectors and state-of-the-art acoustics in place, we ensure effective learning even to the farthest point in the room. The hybrid mode is a game changer as you can enjoy the benefits of a live classroom from the comfort of your home. Even if you happen to miss any classroom session, you can still attend the same session with the same trainer at the same time at your convenience, maintaining consistency in your learning progress. Want to get started? Join us for a demo or career chat over a cup of coffee at our Andheri branch. XLR. We don't just train, we build careers.
Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives.
The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets.
So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me. So I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
It was a great course and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept.
A very good afternoon to one and all those who are present here for today's faculty development program on cybersecurity. I would request the faculties to inform their peers to join in quickly so that we would be starting the session in the next 5 minutes.
The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our Technical Fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it.
was very much interested in learning digital marketing course for a very long period of time, but I don't get a proper platform. So later for my college, I get to know about XLR and I enrolled in XLR course. It was really good experience. Our course has been taken by Mayur sir, and he was very good teacher. He not only focusing on theory part.
A warm welcome to all the faculties, HODs, principals who have joined in for today's faculty development program on cybersecurity starting today, 13th October. The sessions will be from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., 2 hours per day from Monday to Friday. So before we could start, let me give you a quick introduction of XLR. XLR, founded in 2013 by IIM ISB alumni, Mr. Ram Tava, and headquartered in USA, world headquarters in Houston, USA. So far, we have trained 8 lakh plus students and professionals, and we cater to the skilling needs of individuals, institutions, and industries. We have been getting stronger and stronger through our premium associations with iHub Divya Sampark, Skill Up APSSDC, APSHE, TASK, KMDC, IIT Madras, Pravartak, IIT Roorkee, BITS Pilani, NASCOM Future Skill Prime, and Swayam Plus. We have got our courses approved and evaluated by NASCOM and Swayam Plus, and we have XLR courses onboarded on their platform as well. We have been awarded twice by Deloitte for our exemplary training in various category of training programs in emerging technology and many others as well, Silicon India, analytics, PMP training, and various other category of awards. Just to give a quick glimpse of our decade of training excellence, where we have trained so far faculty 80,000 plus faculty development programs for 80,000 plus faculties, and for students 8 lakh plus, placement partners 5,000 plus, and we have been collaborated with 2,000 plus colleges, conducted largely webinars, seminar, workshops close to 600 plus, on emerging technology front close to 40 plus. As I had mentioned, we have 8 lakh plus students who come from engineering, degree, and others for the student development program. And from the faculties, we have a mixed group from engineering, degree, and others, close to 70,000 plus. So what is our everyday learning program? We provide application and industry-oriented learning for students and faculties through our application-oriented training, hands-on training, and we also help the colleges to get their NAC and NBA requirements, to meet the NAC and NBA requirements. And all that a learner has to do is register to the EDL Everyday Learning Program and would be able to take up the training programs on the emerging technology front. Post completion of this training program, the learner will be given participation certificate. Through our everyday learning program, we connect with the colleges to provide them on the industry webinars, industry faculty development programs, professional training, and we sign MOUs with the colleges. And all of these training program happens through our learning management system tool, LMS, where this learner will get 365 days of access for the training programs. And the same portal, they will be able to get access to the assignments, assessments, and they will also be able to prepare for their job interviews as well. So this is how our LMS would look like. Shortly, you will be given a complete walkthrough on the LMS platform as well. So far, we have covered 59 plus student development programs, where constantly participating colleges are close to 1,600 plus. Trained students close to 8 lakh plus on these technology trends: DSA, ChatGPT, Advanced Excel, Salesforce, Python, Python programming, SQL, and various other category of programs. Faculty development program so far conducted is 42 plus. Constantly participating colleges are close to 1,590. And most popular training programs which we have covered under the FDP faculty development program are these: AI, Gen AI, FDP on deep learning, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, data analytics using Power BI, data analytics, cybersecurity, and many others. So if you will have to get a participation certificate, all that you will have to do is register to this program, attend the complete faculty development program for 5 days, get the faculty development program certificate with complete attendance of 60% and above. If it is a student development program, you will have to attend a 15 days of training program under the student development program, and you will be given with the participation certificate. These are some of our certificates which we have issued for various other category of programs. And these are some of our recent engagements which we have done with premier institutions like IIT Roorkee, data analytics using Minitab tool training at IIT Roorkee. And this is at BITS Pilani, Power BI training for the students. And this was completely curated by XLR to support the final year engineering students to prepare them for the job interviews. So it was a 240 plus hours of campus recruitment training with placement assistance, and close to 50,000 plus registrations happened for this program. And it is a 5-subject module where coding skills, quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, soft skills, resume and LinkedIn profile building, tips and techniques to ace the job interview, group discussion, everything was covered. And this happened through the collaboration of iHub Divya Sampark, where only 5,200 plus students who completely attended with their, that is constantly participated in all the days of training, which went from Jan to April 2024, were awarded with this prestigious certificate. This is just a glimpse of the maximum registrations which had come from Andhra Pradesh, close to 10,000 plus. These are some of our student development and faculty development programs which we had conducted in the past in collaboration with premium institutions and other government bodies. So without much further ado, let me take you through this faculty development program, cybersecurity, where I would like to call upon our distinguished guest for today afternoon. So we have Mr. Caleb Andrews, DGM, Human Resource from Cadre Management Head Tech B, HCL Tech, who has 21 years of experience in driving strategic workforce initiatives, and he is the head of the cadre management team, a key contributor to operational rollout of India's first large-scale early employment program in the IT sector, a visionary initiative led by founder chairman, Mr. Shivanadar. And beyond early career enablement, he also leads HR operations, internal mobility, bench redeployment, and employee engagement initiatives. A warm welcome to you, sir. And over to you, sir.
Hi, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see a program like this curated and specifically, given to people who can go back and train more such people. So it's a wonderful program offered by XLR. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here and open this particular program. I recall that I was thinking why we need to do all this. What is the need for training the trainers is required. It pushed me go back to those days when the pandemic hit us, and I believe strongly that whoever was so good on doing manual work or doing it physically, especially professors, teachers, they all were trained by nature to get in overnight into and digital platform, digital mode. I was reading this article where this professor was so, strong, and he has a very stunning voice where he comes around, and whenever he walks into the, you know, lecture hall, every student behaves properly, and nobody can mess with him because of his strong, knowledge on every aspect of whatever he's going to talk about. And suddenly, one, Corona hit, and he had to go back home. Everybody was shut, and the day came that he had to take online classes. Now, I want to just, take back almost all, 200 plus people out here, whoever had this experience of this particular professor. There were times that we, logged into Zoom 15 minutes early, and we wanted to be safe. We wanted to click on, start meeting, and in a panic mode, we clicked on anything else, everything that could possibly come on our way. And he started doing that as well. He started clicking everywhere, and he didn't know where to go, but go ahead and click what. And there were times, and then he was about to share the screen to give his content for the day, and he was well prepared, but when he was sharing, he didn't know which window to share, so he accidentally shared a window where he had his complete grocery list, where he had 2 kg onions and 1 packet Maggie, and and Dettol packets, and he was teaching statistics, and he was trying to manage with all this grocery list. We recollect those days, especially the breakout rooms. When they were trying to get into the breakout rooms, some of the professors went into breakout rooms and locked themselves out. But thank God, nature took us through this journey, and then we are all now equipped. We know how to do it if there's another lockdown or something's going to happen, or we're going to go for a hybrid, way of teaching or anything. And now I think we have come to a crucial place where we need to know much more things, which is, what is this certification is all about, which is cybersecurity. Now, upskilling isn't just staying relevant, in my view. It's about staying sane. It's about keeping yourself up to date. I recollect my little daughter, who's just about 5-6 years old, and whenever she asked me for the mobile phone, because of the societal pressure, I said no phone. And then said, it's okay, daddy. She kept saying, okay, daddy. And then suddenly she said, you lock the screen and give it to me. Now, I was thinking, okay, what is she going to do if she's going to lock the screen, and if I'm going to give her, she's just going to meddle with the phone, nothing she's going to do. And then one day, every time she comes back, she says, daddy, you lock the phone and give it. And then one day I was looking at her, and she was watching YouTube. And I was thinking, how did she even know the code? How did she even know my password? And then I sat next to her and I told her, hey, can you tell me how you were able to do this? Every time I'm locking this phone and I'm giving it to you, and you're still able to go to YouTube. And then she walked me through the process. She said, you see the screensaver which is popping out, you just have to go down, and you have a link there, you click it, it just opens up. And I was so shocked to know about all this. Moral of this story is, as a professor or a fresh trainer, learning a new tool can always save you from turning your, grocery list into a lecture. In my opinion, I think, what we are witnessing is a seismic shift in higher education driven by emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and adaptive learning platforms. And they are all no longer futuristic. They are now foundational. And they personalize learning, automate routine tasks, and create immersive experiences. But with these advancements come challenges: data privacy, digital equity, and the need for ethical frameworks. As educators and leaders, we must embrace this innovation, and while safeguarding the human values. I think this is the best forum you could get with Excel to get yourself upskilled. I think it's 2 hours a day. I think you can give it up and get yourself qualified for this. I wish you all the very best. Take a right decision and move forward. I think learning never stops, and this is one of the forum platform where you can learn about this new skill. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb Andrews, for striking the right chord, which synced very well with the audience on the cybersecurity topic. So let me call upon the next dignitary for today's afternoon, Dr. Y. Vijayakumar, Principal of Jawaharlal Nehru New College of Engineering, Shivamogga, who is a principal, holds BE, MTech, PhD in Industrial Engineering, having 33 years of academy experience and 5 years of industry experience. He's also a member of Governing Council, BOS and BOE of various universities like VTU, BU, Jain, etc. And he has been awarded as Best Educationist and Certificate of Educational Excellence and received Lifetime Achievement Award for the contribution and achievement in the field of industrial engineering. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, thank you so much, madam, for giving a wonderful introduction. Shall I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Greetings to everyone. I am Dr. Y. Vijayakumar, Principal, JNN College of Engineering. Especially what I want to convey for all the audiences today, whatever you learn today, it's going to become common in the next day. So the more skills you acquire, it is always better. Recently, one incident has happened where throughout the world, engineering degree is 160 credits, which is decided by the Washington Accord. But the moment if a graduate wants to do some premium courses, MS programs, universities are expecting 175 credits. So for that 15 credits is nothing but it is above x-axis what the skills the candidate is having. The second question comes, in which area he has to acquire the skills. And now in our institution with two areas. One is augmented manufacturing. The second one is Sarvam AI and with cyber security. Now in these two areas, if you do these type of programs, I think definitely will become useful to the society, and whatever the delta X you want to make it for the society, it is going to be helpful. And now one more thing is the days have gone where the strength of a person, strength of an organization, strength of a country is measured with the help of some physical things. Today it is on the assets like patents, publications, and intellectual values. One thing I read in one of the article is two organizations, that is LG and Samsung, and the employees of those two organizations are making Korea as one of the strongest country. So when that is possible, why can't we do it certain things, the areas in which it is very, very, very much is required, in which one is cyber security. Now, without wasting much time, we will listen to other speakers, and this is what I want to convey. And I am want to see that in the coming days, my students are the everyone to acquire a lot of skills to grow at a faster rate. Thank you very much for XLR for giving this wonderful opportunity, and we will be there every time to support these type of activities in association with everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you again for giving us that confidence, for your constant support, and for your kind and motivating words for the audience, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Let me call upon our next dignitary for today's program, Dr. Manjusha Deshmukh, Principal of Saraswati College of Engineering, Navi Mumbai. She has 28 years of experience in teaching, research, and academy administration. She holds a PhD in electronics and telecommunication engineering and an MBA in finance marketing. A visionary leader, she has guided SCOE to a new milestone and received several honors, including the CSI Mumbai Best Principal Awards 2018 and 24, and the National Educational Excellence Award in 2019. A warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm happy to welcome you all to the inauguration of Faculty Development Program on Cybersecurity organized by XLR in association with Saraswati College of Engineering, Kharghar. So, Saraswati College of Engineering, we are an autonomous institute affiliated to University of Mumbai, Maharashtra. It is NAC A+ accredited and has a few programs accredited by NBA. The institute is committed to excellence in teaching, research, and innovation, and we continuously try to enhance the skills of faculty and students by organizing quality initiatives, industry collaborations, and professional development programs. So in today's interconnected world, we know that cybersecurity has become a critical area of concern. So with the rapid growth of digitization, protection of all our information from the cyber threats is essential for maintaining privacy and security. So this FDP aims to build awareness and strengthen the technical understanding about cybersecurity. I'm confident that the sessions will provide valuable insights to the participants. I extend my sincere thanks to the XLR, the other resource person, and participants from various institutes and organizing team for their efforts in making this event possible. I wish the program a great success. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind words. So let me now call upon our expert, Mr. Ashok Kumar Mohan, Founder Director of Priyavan Cyber Senior DFIR Specialist, Cybercrime Researcher, having 10 plus years of experience in cybercrime, investigations, law enforcement training, national security collaborations, who has also collaborated with ISRO and DRDO research units on secure forensic operations and featured on NDTV and other national platforms for promoting cyber hygiene awareness. He's been recognized as a elite cyber warrior by ISAC Foundation, academia and research, published with IEEE, cited on Google Scholar, and guided multiple PhD scholars. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the intro. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes.
And
yes.
you're able to see me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll directly start with the session. Right?
You can just give you a quick intro and set the context. We would have another LMS walkthrough, after which the session will be handed over to you.
Sure, fine. Okay. Very good afternoon to everyone. As the intro was given, I was into academics, teaching over a decade, and also into cyber investigations, right? So I was so eager in teaching. So that's how after my graduation, leaving the office, I went back to teaching, right? Interesting to teach BTech, MTech, cybersecurity, in charge of placements and on, right? So what we felt like, I had a mixture of academics and industry. So we'll teach some 70, 80 papers over 4 years, right? Industry will take only 3 or 4 papers from them. They'll even, we being a recruiter, right? When we go to a college, you'll ask, hey, you just let me know which course you're just going to give me. Maybe like we'll ask for penetration testing, we'll ask for anything on SOC or anything on threat intel. What are the things which you're going to do for the next 5 days, right? So there's a huge gap. We know, like from the first, we are just talking the same. Like there's a huge gap between academics and industry. But the only team, the only force who can bridge that is going to be the faculties, right? Me being a faculty and industry and hybrid, right? Only if you are able to just know what are the right concepts, maybe in the next 5 days, we'll be getting to know about many tools and techniques. If those tools and techniques and the methodologies are taught to students, they are just going to prepare them for clearing the interview, nothing much. After that, when they go to the industry, they'll learn a lot. But the stepping stone is knowing the basics, foundation, and clearing the interview. Hopefully, we'll suffice the thing in the next 5 days, right? Thank you, XLR team, for the opportunity. We'll move on to the next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashok. So now let me hand over the session to my colleague, Mr. Amar Shivate, who will take you through the LMS walkthrough. All the sessions will happen through the LMS portal. So over to you, Amar.
So dear faculty members, once again, very good afternoon. and welcome to the FDP on cybersecurity. So myself, Amar, I will just give you the quick walkthrough in 5 to 6 minutes about the accessing the LMS portal. So LMS is nothing but a learning management system, and by using the LMS, we are going to share all study material at one place only. Okay, so it's like one-stop solution for all e-learning content by XLR. XLR LMS is a robust LMS. We are sharing the recordings of the sessions. You are able to join the session from the portal via Zoom and YouTube. Simultaneously, you will get the material. On top of it, as we are providing the training programs to the different institutes, we are conducting the proctored assessment, not only MCQ assessment, but coming to the coding assessment as well, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, DSA. So all these things are happening via LMS only. Okay, so now currently the process is automated, and whenever you are registering to the platform, automatically you're getting two emails from our site. Okay, so the first email is nothing but LMS portal account details by XLR, and second email is a course invitation email. So in LMS portal account details by XLR, in this mail you are able to see the portal link, email address, and password. Okay, so portal link is nothing but LMS URL. Okay, so mylearning.xlr.com, this is XLR LMS portal URL. Username is nothing but your registered mail ID and password. So as a first time user, you will find a system generated password. A couple of faculty already attended the program, previous FDP or any SDP or any another webinar or seminar from the XLR. So they will get only welcome email by using the link directly, a URL directly, mylearning.xlr.com. They can start accessing the portal. Okay. So for now, suppose that I'm clicking on this link. So what next? So I will revert on to the next page, that is a sign in page or login page. And here I have to provide my credentials. So coming to the credentials, as I said, username is the thing, but your registered mail ID and the password. Okay. So if you check here, you already have the system generated password. Okay. So this is little bit lengthy. So first time to us to log into the LMS, you have to use that password, but once you are going to log in successfully, so I will let you know that how you are able to forget the password as well. Okay, so suppose I provided my credentials, my mail ID and password successfully. I am clicking on to the sign in. So two things will happen. It will take me to the dashboard successfully, or else it will give me the error that something went wrong, or email ID is not correct, or password is not correct. Okay, so in that scenario, you can try to forget your password, but please make sure that if you're directly going to the mylearning.xlr.com, you are able to go, you are able to sign in as it, but you will not find the course on your dashboard. So make sure that everybody registered for the same, because without registration, the LMS access will not granted. Okay. So our team, if anybody directly join the session, our team will share the credentials, the registration link. So you can just log in, you get the credentials. On to the sign in. So what next? So let me reshare my screen and we'll go through the dashboard directly. Just a couple of seconds. I'm just resharing my screen. Yes. So once we provide our credentials, we'll land here on this dashboard. And here you're able to see the couple of options like back to home page, leaderboard, dashboard, purchase history, or profile. So first of all, let me walk you through the profile. So I'm clicking onto the profile. Here I'm able to see the setting option, right? So from here you can update the your details. That is nothing but your full name, username. You can update your photo. It's up to you, and the password. So as I click onto the back .com, here you will find like if you already sign in, then you will find the profile. From here you can just go to the user mode or dashboard, and on the mylearning.xlr.com, on the web page you are able to see the couple of courses which is credit based courses of XLR approved by the NASCOM, Swayam Plus or AppShare. Okay, so you are able to find here. So now I'm clicking on to the profile. I'm going to the user mode. So below the back to homepage, I have leaderboard option. So leaderboard is a concept be like whenever we are conducting the test to the different colleges or universities. So at that time, as per their coding performance, as per their assignment performance, as per their MCQ contest performance, the leaderboard is increasing with the XPs. Okay. Now below that, you are able to see the dashboard. So we're done with the profile, back to homepage, leaderboard, dashboard. So this is a very important tab for everyone. So now here you can check, you're able to see the live session for today. Okay. So if you sign in successfully, you are able to see this tab. So you can just click on that. So here you will find the two options. So first option is nothing but to join the meeting using the Zoom, or else join the meeting using the YouTube link. So simply you can click on the link. So as per your convenient, you can join via Zoom or else YouTube. Okay. So now going back, we'll search for how we'll get the recording or attendance or material, right? So below that, you are able to see the 65 annual courses, right? So here you can check, yes, FDP on cybersecurity. I'm clicking on that. Once I click on that, for now, I'm able to see the attendance and feedback link, live session recording, and you will find the material here. Okay. So now I'm clicking here. I'm clicking onto the attendance and feedback link, and I will find one link. Okay. I will click on that link. So here one G form is embedded here. And this is a very important thing, because to get the certificate of participation from the XLR and the collaborative colleges, the 60% attendance is a mandatory. Okay. So make sure that you are submitting the 60% attendance, because that is the criteria to get the certificate. Okay. And one more thing, be like a couple of you are not logged in, or you will like you will require some time if you just register now. So no need to worry. Sharp at 4:30, our team will share the attendance and feedback link with you. So you can just mark that attendance. Our team will share over the Zoom and YouTube as well sharp at 4:30, and that link will be active in between 4:30 to 5:30 for same day for 1 hour. Okay, and we are waiting for your valuable feedback about the session. So that will you find into the feedback form. That is nothing but an attendance form, one common form for all. And here you can check the recordings. So device recordings will be available here, day 1, day 2, day 3, like that. And you will find the material as well. So whatever the material we are going to utilize for the next 5 days, the all material will be provided to you. Yes. So like this, you can access the LMS portal. So that's all from my end. If facing any difficulty, or if you have any doubts, you can post into the chat box, or else you can feel free to reach out to us to the edl@xla.com. So our team will take care of the queries. Thank you. Nityamam, over to you.
Thank you, Amar. So let me call upon again the trainer who will be starting with today's session. Over to you, Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope you are able to hear me loud and clear. I'll also share my screen. Just a minute. Okay. I'm sharing the whole screen. Okay. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Mr. Ashok.
Fine. Okay. Can we start?
Yes, please.
Fine. So welcome everyone, faculties, for this FDP on cybersecurity. Today we are going to start with day 1 of day 5, maybe for the next 2 hours, right? So we have just sorted out somewhere around 10 hours is a whole coursework, right? And we have split it into 15 minutes slot. So obviously we have landed in fine tuning somewhere around 40 topics. And in academics, when we teach, right, we'll be just talking about foundation. See, in the university, in the college, we talk about foundation. We give you foundation, you go to industry and do something. We give you foundation and you go to industry and take to the next step, right? So when it comes to cybersecurity, right, we need to just know the basics of hardware, networking, network security, then move on to any XOZ cybersecurity concept. Because being as academics and being in also industry, right? So when we go out and search for a certificate on cybersecurity, there will be a catchy keyword, ethical hacking or hacking, right? So they'll just give some certificates, ask you to do one thing, just like landing on step number 3 or 4. We need to start with step 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So even when I interview quite a good number of candidates for companies, right? So we'll ask them, hey, he'll be saying like, hey, I am a bug bounty, I have taken some bugs in some website, I have done something X, Y, Z, greater achievements. We'll just ask him, hey, let me know what is port number 2021. If he's not able to answer saying that what is 2021 corresponding to FDP, right? So we might not be able to give him a job, right? He might be learning something not from the scratch, something on an intermediate level, just like talking in faculty terms, right? You cannot do a MTech or PhD without a graduation, BTech or your high school. Same way, we have slotted this into 40 slots. Maybe today we'll be covering the basics of network security, and what is needed in Windows and Linux. At the end of the day, someone goes, maybe our students goes to industry, they work, they'll be working on a infrastructure, right? Networks connected on Windows system or Linux system. It can be servers, it can be Apple devices and on. The most common are Windows and Linux. So the foundation concepts which we need to know is, we need to know what is hardware, network security, and some basic commands of Windows and Linux. So we will be starting with this on day 1, on the first 8 topics. Then we'll be quickly walking through in a chronological order, right? What is AAA principle? What is CAA principle? What are all the layers of security? What is a breach? You know, right? If someone says, hey, my mail ID is hacked, one mail ID, username or password or some sensitive information is leaked. That is called a so-called hack. But if it is a bigger stage, maybe you might be a part of a college or a university, right? So 6,000 usernames and passwords of your university or college is leaked. So that will be tagged as a breach. We call it as a data breach. Humongous amount of sensitive information that have been leaked by so-called XYZ hackers on the internet. We'll be talking about that. Then we'll come back to the foundation part. Ports, protocol, what is a packet? What is security? When someone talks about security, they'll talk about firewall, IDS, IPS. The extended tools will be SIM, XDR. We see about cyber threat landscape, attack vectors, attack maps. And security means passwords. We'll see what is password. Password is one method of authentication. Then we'll see what are all the authentication methods available. When we talk about security, we talk about cryptography, lock and unlock. See, we both are using WhatsApp. I send a message to you, you receive. The message is locked in my WhatsApp, in my Android phone. It is received in your iPhone, in your WhatsApp. It's so-called end-to-end encrypted. So what is the security basics behind that? Cryptographics, fine. Steganography, OWASP top 10. This all after maybe day 3. We'll quickly move on to some technical topics, right? Top 10 attacks, DNS, cyber kill chains, CVE, CVSS scorings. And the last day, hopefully we'll concentrate on the domains. Being a faculty, maybe I was also teaching, I attended quite a good number of FDPs. I've delivered quite a good number of FDPs. The take home for faculties will be, hey, I have a paper. Maybe I have 2 or 3 papers at the university, which I need to prove them saying that I can take this paper, take this elective paper in cybersecurity. Or else I'm going to apply for a proposal for a government. So I need to prove them skillful saying that, hey, I know something. I've done some research. I've put some papers. I've taken some courses on cybersecurity, right? So the last day we'll be covering about the domains in cybersecurity, different domains. So participants, if you have any questions, queries, right, you can very well put in the chat box, right? So I've opened my chat box. If you want an answer immediately, you can raise your hand or unmute and speak, right? I'm happy that you can just stop me in between. I hope someone have raised your hand. Yeah. If you have any questions, queries, you can put in the chat box or you can unmute and speak also. Fine. So the next 5 days, 2 into 5, 10 hours, we are just going to walk through from what is cybersecurity till maybe the top 10 domains on cybersecurity, right? So I'll just be sharing my experience, what I was teaching at the university, what we are doing in the industry. It's going to be a hybrid model of just bits and pieces of my experience over a decade on this cybersecurity teaching and consulting. So before we start with the main topic, right? So today is day 1. So we have got some 8 slots, 8 15-minute slots, right? So we'll be talking about the first 8 topics for today. If you want, I'll just show you the same, right? Starting from slot 1 to slot 8, we'll be covering today. Network devices, IP and subnet, network topologies, Linux basics, Windows basics, file permissions, and sysinternal suite, right? Typically covering the foundation of what is needed for a cybersecurity. You see, like whenever a student goes to an interview for cybersecurity, information security, or anything related to network security, the common questions will be asked, right? You know, at the university, we teach students, we train them for getting some good marks or getting passed at least, right? So we just train them for, hey, attend this 2 8 marks or attend this 10 16 marks, something like that. We'll just give them some scope on attending the questions, right? So we don't want to give them a 2-mark definition, right? At the industry, what we expect is like someone says, sir, I know a network is connected. We'll just say, hey, I'm just giving you a file, send the file from this system to this system. If you're able to send it successfully, okay, we'll move on to the next round of interview, right? Currently, interviews are happening like that. No more traditional methods of interview, tell about yourself, GDs and on. That's a part of interviews, right? But in cyber, trending areas like cybers, you talk about AI, you talk about data science. It's all about practical things. You know a concept, well and good. We don't want you to memorize and repeat. If you know the concept, let me know your understanding. What is network? What is cryptography? That is fine. Then we'll ask about like what is your exposure, fine? So we'll quickly walk through. We'll start with the first topic. Network fundamentals, right? I believe all the faculties here, majority might be computer science major, some mixed ECE, EEE or some other majors might be there. So for the matter of fact of understanding of everyone, I'm just starting from the scratch, right? So we know networking. Before networking, there is a concept called computer hardware, right? I've not touched on that. Sir, maybe even when I teach my students, they'll ask, sir, why I need to know about hardware? I'm going to go for a hardcore cybersecurity job. Why you are teaching me RAM, hard disk, these sort of devices, right? Nowadays, attacks are getting sophisticated, right? No more attacks are going to come as a link. It can come in a pen drive, it can come in a hard disk, it can come in some routines to your motherboard and on. So we need to know how it works. So before networking, there should be some foundation understanding about the hardware, typically computer hardware. Starting from when you type a key A, what happens? The input goes from your input unit to the so-called CPU, then something processed in the RAM, something has been cached in your storage, and something has been displayed on your output unit, right? If an attacker wants to do something, in cyber terminologies, the so-called XYZ hackers, right? They will put a tool called keylogger. That's a tool called keylogger. Just a minute. I hope my screen is visible. I'll open it. I'll open a notepad for understanding so that whatever keywords I'm typing, at the end of the session, I hope I'll share this Word document, the PDF document, which I'm just showing you in the background, right? So there is something called as a keylogger. If you're hearing this for the first time, right? Keylogger is a type of a malware, malicious software. In older days, we called it as a virus, right? Which is going to store all the keys which I am typing. For example, if I am typing start button, right? If I'm typing start button and I'm just typing Chrome, I'm opening Chrome, I'm typing gmail.com, then I'm typing abc@gmail.com, then I'm typing password, something like that. Everything, whatever is typed on the keyboard will be stored in a notepad like this, and that will be sent to an attacker. These keyloggers can be of 2 types, hardware based, what I said. It can be inserted like a pen drive in your system, or else it can be a software keylogger, just like we see at another virus. Click next, finish, right? The keyloggers can be hardware and software based. So that's what I said before. Knowing on to the whole of networking concepts, we need to have the basic understanding about hardware, right? So we'll start with the basic networking concepts. Everyone knows network. So we are here to network. 200, 250 or even greater people are here to network. I'm going to say something, you're going to reply something, you're going to take home, learning something, sharing something. Network among computers, or else in traditional terms, we call it as a WWW, World Wide Website, right? So all these things are going to be the basics one. So whenever we talk about network, if any one of you had a chance to teach a course at the university or college, computer networks, or some colleges will have cryptography and network security, or network and cryptography, some papers mix up names in this, right? We'll start teaching them about layers. Here, there is a protocol. If you say protocol, I'm speaking in English, you understand English, that's well and good. We follow a protocol, right? So if I'm talking in my native language, some of you are not able to understand my native language. That's a miscommunication, right? That should not happen on the internet. So internet, you can be from India, you can be from any other country. Everyone using internet will follow the same protocol, right? Protocols, or we call it in the other name as standard. One such global standard is called ISO, International Organization for Standardization. We call it as ISO, even if it is called iOS, right? We call it as ISO. And they have a model, how we can send the data from the sender to receiver. That's a reference model that is called OSI model, Open System Interconnect. The current model which we use is TCP/IP model, right? So anything on the network, want to send a data and receiver data, network is not going to be one-to-one. If it's going to be peered or one-to-one, we can just share the data only within your system. You don't want a network. Network means you're sending a data from a sender to one or multiple receivers and you're getting it back, connected on the network over wires or wireless, over satellite and on. So we'll just start with this basic ISO OSI TCP/IP reference model. Fine. I remember we had 7 layers, right? ISO OSI layers. TCP/IP reference model will have 4. We'll stick on to the standard ISO OSI model. Fine. So it was so hard. I remember way back 15 years ago. 15 years ago when I did my graduation, BTech, right? It was so hard to remember all the 7 layers in order. There's a 8 mark or something coming in that layer, right? Memorizing something, mugging up, keeping some jargons and on. Those days, like even when we were at college, we might have written it using memorizing or keeping some keywords. But keep in mind, industry wants you to walk through the ISO OSI layers. I don't want you to put a 2 mark on ISO OSI layers. Industry wants you to walk through the ISO OSI layers. You are sending a mail, I am receiving a mail. Each and every layer, we need to say, or a student who is sitting for the interview have to say how the data is going. It can be converted from one format to another format, one standard to another standard. Size can be amplified, size can be reduced, encryption, decryption can be done, encoding, decoding can be done. So that's how it goes on. Fine. So we'll see the basic commands also, basic network commands. So I hope, again, in the interview when we ask, right? So we'll ask a candidate, hey, just get the IP address and MAC address of your computer and let me know what is the make and model. i3 computer is going to have this much RAM. Just say me in a couple of minutes. You give a computer to a candidate asking him, what is your IP address? What is your MAC address? What is your computer domain name? And say me how much RAM you have in bytes, right? The candidate have some basic skills of command prompt. He or she will be able to answer that, right? I lately had an interview and asking 100 students the same question. Roughly 5 people were able to say, sir, I was able to do this. They just gave the command. So we just took the 5 students for the next set of interview. All the other 95 have put a goodbye. Hey, you can just learn and come back for the next year or the next set of interviews. So basic networking commands or basic Windows commands we need to know. Let me open my command prompt. Okay, I'm zooming in. I hope this level zoom should do good. Okay. So I'm typing something called who am I? It will say, hey, welcome. I have a i3 Dell PC and my computer name is Ashok. As the introduction was given, I work bits and pieces of forensic investigation. In real world terms, we call it as cybercrime or cyber investigations. Don't believe whatever you see. Who am I says, what is the computer name? What is the make and model? As per the output here, it says I'm using a i3 Intel processor and I'm using a Dell computer. Fine. This is the first command. So let me type another command, system info. Fine. This command will clearly say, that's what we talked about, the connection between hardware and network. This command from my OS will go to my hardware and fetch the information. Hey, who's the manufacturer, who's the make and model and everything. Let's walk through what is the result. The result says host name is i3 Dell PC. That's how I renamed it. That's well and good. I have a Windows 10 Pro. Fine. Let's walk down. Registered organization is HP. it clearly says, hey, I'm using a HP laptop. Really, I'm using a HP laptop. Fine. And I'm using a AMD processor, right? AMD is exactly a competitor for Intel, you know. AMD Ryzen 5 is the processor which I'm using. So what I've done, I've just gone to my command prompt. Intentionally, I've just changed my identity, just like changing your photo or name on your ID card, right? I've just changed this. So in cybersecurity, in investigation, or anywhere on cyber industry, do not see whatever you believe, right? With the who am I command, if you're doing an investigation, your report will have, here the victim or the attacker is using an i3 Dell PC. If you're able to give this command, the system info command, and really find what is the actual processor, what is the actual OS, what is the actual make and model, you'll be able to get the details. So the general thing, whatever you see on the window, whatever even I teach, right? You don't blankly believe on that. You practice it, check it, and then you just move forward, because you are going to teach quite a good number of students. They are going to sit for the interview. Fine. So just let me clear the screen. CLS. Okay, CLS is a screen clearing the Windows screen. Fine. So I'm just starting with the basic networking. IP CON FIG IP config. It's a command will let you know, hey, how I'm connected to the internet now using my laptop. Fine. It's going to give a lengthy description. I'm interested in it. I'm not connected over Ethernet. Ethernet is a wired connection. I've connected to my Wi-Fi. Let me check. Okay, I've connected to my Wi-Fi. And I'm having an IP. If you're seeing this lengthy number for the first time, don't get panicked. This is an IPv6, right? 128-bit version 6 IP. On my local area network, I'm having an IP called 192.168.1.20. So this is my IP address, and I've connected to a router. I have it in the office, Airtel router or BSNL, right? So the router is having this IP. So any connections from my computer will go via my identity, like my name and roll number. Sorry. So my IP is my unique identity. We call it as a virtual address in computers. 192.168.1.20. This is my IP. And I'm connecting to the internet via a gateway. This router sitting at my office, 192.168.1.1, is giving me the internet. And in between, there's a concept called subnet. We'll be discussing it maybe when you're going in depth on networking, right? So my IP, when I type IP config, it shows me IP version 6, IP version 4. What is the default gateway? Fine. If I want to go further, like I'll just go to the same command, IP config /all. It's going to be a bit descriptive, a bit lengthy, right? It will show me what is my IP address. Fine, well and good. It's also going to let me know something called as a MAC address. So just a minute, let me type it here. Our computers or networking devices are identified using IP address, right? IP address, and there is something called MAC address. In layman term, if you want to explain, we'll say like this is my name and roll number. Have anyone felt like, hey, you're working at the college, you have students at the college, name is unique, roll numbers is yet another unique. What is the need for name and roll number both? Someone asks a question, we'll have a justification. Hey, name is used for these identities. Roll number is used for these identities. Even they are two unique identities for the same person, they are meant for a purpose. Same way in computers or over the networks, IP address is a number. Let's say if I'm connected on the internet, my 192.168.1.20. This is my IP address, right? This is, if I'm not wrong, IPv4 is 32-bit address, right? Fine. 128 divided by 8, 32, fine. So there is, this is called IP address. We call it as virtual address. Okay. There is something called MAC address. We call it as a physical address. So in computer terminologies, if you got a chance to teach paper on computer organization, computer foundation, or syllabus cats, operating systems, right? Anything when we address something in computers, we address it in two formats. Something that is available physical, something that is virtual, right? For example, you have a pen drive. Physically, you call it as a 2 GB pen drive, but virtually, it can store only 1.9 GB of data. There will be a difference between physical and virtual. Anyone teaching operating system might know the difference between paging, segmentation, and on, right? So in computers, networks, The virtual address is called IP address. It can be IPv4 or IPv6. It can be IPv4 or IPv6, right? So if I'm not wrong, IPv4 should be 32-bit address. IPv6 should be 128-bit address. Fine. And another identity is called MAC address. For your understanding, I'll split it into 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 6. Okay. So you see here, each one is called as an octet. OCTET. Octet means 8, right? So we have how many 8s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 into 6. If I'm not wrong, it's going to be 48. So 48-bit address. So we're just maximize. So we are going to have a 48-bit MAC address, either 32-bit or 128-bit IP address. The most common question asked in any interview for a candidate claiming that, hey, I know cybersecurity, give me a job in cybersecurity. Define IP address, define MAC address. That's out of the box. We ask at the university for grading and things. Industry will ask something like this. Yeah, someone have raised your hand. Yeah, if you have any queries, you can ask in the chat box. If you have an options to unmute, you can unmute and speak. Mr. Venkata Varma. I'm not able to see anything in the chat box. Okay, fine. We'll continue. If you have questions, you can unmute and speak, or you can put in the chat box. So that's the main difference between IP address and MAC address. The most common foundation any candidate should have when they go for a cybersecurity interview. Okay. So we are in this ipconfig command, right? So the command used for checking IP. Fine. There is another command called ping, P-I-N-G. It's a connectivity checking protocol. I want to check whether there's a connection between me and www.google.com. Fine. It says, hey, welcome. Google.com is hosted in this page. If you're seeing this, this is an IPv4 of google.com. It's going to be sent. It sends 4 packets. The protocol is ping. The technology involved here, or the yet another protocol, is ICMP, right? So what I'm doing, I'm trying to do a ping for connectivity check. Ping follows a protocol ICMP protocol. As per the protocol, it will send 4 packets. The 4 packets are received, right? It will say, hey, there's a connectivity. That's what it's doing. Reply from packet number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fine. If I'm trying to ping something different, right? Let me check. Instead of google.com, I'll type google.com. It says, hey, welcome. You're trying to find a website. This website does not exist on the internet. Or at least in my domain or subdomain, I'm not able to find this website. It clearly says, I'm not able to ping. If I'm asking a person, you have a student, 50 students in your class, you know their names, you're calling someone who doesn't belong to this class. They may be a part of other class. You call someone in their names, what the students will do? No one will reply. That candidate you're searching is not available in that class. Same way, right? So you need to ping a website or an IP. For example, I'm pinging 127.0.0.1. It's an IP of my network card. We call it a home address in cyber, right? So I'm checking my network card, wireless card has this home IP. So I'm getting a reply. It's a proof of concept. Because of this network connected, using my network address, I'll connect it to use my Wi-Fi over Airtel over Zoom. That's how we are connected. Fine. So ping is a connectivity checking protocol to check the connection between the sender and the receiver, right? Okay. There is another command called NSLOOKUP. Whatever I'm showing now are the top 10 Windows commands. Any candidate who claims to know cyber need to know this, or else we need to teach them. We need to teach students about this is the command, how it works. We call it as a syntax. You give NSLOOKUP is a syntax, space, you give a parameter. For example, I'm typing www.amrita.edu, maybe an university ID. It clearly says, hey, welcome. The university has an address, maybe a IPv6 address that is hosted on a public IP, a couple of public IPs, IPv4, right? So NSLOOKUP is a command to change the name of this domain, right? For example, I know this domain. Amrita.edu is the domain name. Computer or devices on the internet knows only IP address. See, we might have taught to students saying about human readable language, machine readable language, right? Same way, I know ABC, domain.com. Computer knows IP address, right? So there will be a translation between this domain name and this IP address. In layman terms, you take an example of your contacts. You have your contacts in your mobile. You have 2000 contacts. You know all the 2000 names. If you have been collecting for the past 15-20 years, you might remember all the 2000 names, but you might not remember all the 2000 phone numbers, right? But when you search something on the things for your name, there will be a corresponding phone number listed, right? The same thing happens on the internet, right? This concept that is happening on the internet or the protocol is called DNS, the most common protocol everyone knows, corresponding to port number 53. We'll talk about ports later. For an understanding, I'm typing, right? DNS, domain name system, fine. So the purpose of DNS is to convert whatever human readable domain names you're typing to go search on the internet and get you the corresponding IP where the website or the server is hosted. So that is called DNS. There's a concept called reverse DNS, right? There's a concept called reverse DNS in which I'll give the IP, it will go and search for the domain which is hosted on the IP, right? All of the internet works based upon this concept called DNS, right? If I'm giving this IP, it will start from the back to front, right? So it will search what is the top level domain, edu. There will be a registry, imagine like a telephone book or a yellow pages book or your mobile contacts listed on every state, every city, every country or every continent on the hierarchy. That list will have, hey, I have a list of edu websites. If you want to find edu websites in India, there will be a domain registry, will have all edu websites in India. Inside that, I'm searching for a website on this name. Okay, it will search for the website in that specific name, and later it will go back to the hosting provider. You might have put, see, you live in a house, you pay rent for the house. Same way, website should be hosted in some place. So there will be a place on the internet, right? You get some storage and host a website there, right? So that's a concept of DNS. Fine. Okay. So that is on this. Now let me take you to a command called NET-STAT. Netstat is the command. As the name goes, it is going to let me know what are the active connection going in and out of my computer now. Fine. So that's what this is going to say. Netstat will say, I'll put some parameters, -ANO. Each one will have a meaning, unique meaning. I'm typing enter. It's pretty loading fast. It's done. It's a one-time reply, right? So this is replying to me. I'll zoom out, right? Zoom out a bit. Okay, see, this is replying to me saying that these are all the connections going in and out of my computer. So let me take, for example, I'm not sure to which IP Zoom is connected. For your understanding, I'll take this number or this row. Fine. The connection is TCP. Everyone knows TCP is a connection-oriented protocol. After three-way handshake, the connection is set. My computer, local computer, you saw it in IP config. My IP is 192.168.1.20. And it is connected to Zoom. Let us assume it is hosted on a public IP. And it is connected to 443. When we talk about this, just a moment. Everyone knows HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, normally operates on port number 80, right? Sometimes 80, sometimes 8000 on proxy or 8080. 80 is most common, right? 80 is the most common port of HTTP. Then we talk about the so-called secure connection, HTTPS. I don't call it completely secure, we call it so-called secure, right? 443, right? So that's what you're able to see here. See, from my local computer, 80 is not here because it's a random port. The sender will have a random port. From my computer, from a port to the receiver's computer to a port, a connection is established. We have a process ID. The process ID is listed here, and the connection is a TCP connection. Right? So now what it have done, this netstat, as the name goes, it is network statistics. That's what is abbreviated as netstat, right? What is the protocol? What is the local address? You see my local IP address and port number. What is the foreign address? To which website on the internet or outside I am connecting? What is the state? It's listening, established, closed, wait, whatever it may be. Process ID. Computers, operating system we call process thread. So each process is unique. See, if I'm finding a virus process, number 1832, I'll go and kill the virus process, right? Same way. So when you establish a connection over the network, what all the things that are involved? There's a protocol involved. There's a local address and local port, foreign address and foreign port. There's a state of the connection. There is a process ID involved. So that is to bring that out, right? We use a command called netstat -ano. These parameters are there, right? If you want to give netstat/h, it will let me know the help file. Why I have given A? A is to display all connections and listening port, okay? N is to display all address and port numbers in numerical form, okay? O is to display the owning process ID. Fine. Got it. This is about netstat. And we saw ping. Ping is a connectivity checking protocol. There is something called ARP, address resolution protocol -A. It will just give us a combo of whatever we are discussing now. The unique ID, your name and roll number, right? Same way IP address and MAC address. So it's saying that, hey, you're connected over an interface. This is my wire. May I have a virtual machine? There is a virtual interface. Leave this. Interface in protocol is a connection. It's a bridge between the sender and the receiver. I am having a wireless interface. The interface is having an IP address. It is connected in my local network. Let's say this is my Airtel router, the router's MAC address. This is my mobile device MAC address. This is my employee or colleague sitting in another room, their computer IP, their computer MAC address. And you leave these numbers. If you study a course on networking, CCNA or network advanced courses, they will talk about this reserved IPs. It's not like reserved. Every bus will have a driver and conductor for a purpose, right? Same way, you don't talk about this 224 IPs. Whatever is given here on this first is the usable. So in my network currently 1, 2, 3, 4 devices are connected. One is my router, second one is this laptop, my mobile, and another laptop in the next room. Fine. So to find this, we do something called ARP -A, right? So even if you are not doing anything on the network, every device connected on the network will regularly send the ARP packet on the network. You see, like you have a contact, your friend gives you a contact, you add the contact. You have a contact, you change the name and number of the contact. You need to update it, right? And everyone knows we use something like Truecaller, right? So how they operate? When you sign in, they get permissions for your name and contact, and they keep it in a common registry. Whenever you change a name, whenever you change a number, it will be updated to the registry. So any new person calls, that person is not in your list, that person might be in someone else's mobile's list. It will show the recommendation, the name recommendation, so and so calling from this city or this company or this college, right? Same way, ARP is a small table. Imagine like your contacts table, right? In every device, in your mobile it will be there, in your switch it will be there, in your router it will be there, in your computer it will be there. That is going to maintain what is my IP address, what is my MAC address, what all the devices connected to me now, what are their IP address and MAC address. In regular intervals, you take it like every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds, depending upon the protocol, the devices, the OS which you use. This will be updated every now and then, right? So that is called ARP -A, address resolution protocol, right? It's going to list the local address or else your virtual address, that is called your IP. Okay, your IP address, then your physical address, that is your MAC address, right? Okay. So host name, you remember like we started with this. Host name will say, yeah, i3DLPC. You remember we started with this conversation. I have intentionally renamed my system with a different name and different processor to confuse someone who wants to identify me. Fine. Okay. So then get MAC, we are talking about IP address and MAC address. I have not shown you what is MAC address, right? Get MAC in any Windows computer will list you the MAC addresses available. Let me check. Down. I've given you an intro. What is a MAC address? Let's go back and check that. This is a MAC address. Okay, MAC is an octet. It is going to have 8 into 6, 48 bits. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 into 8, 48. Fine. Okay, so this is my MAC address. So 1, 2, 3. Let me take this MAC address. I'm selecting that. When I click on enter, it will automatically copy. I have copied that. Let me go back to the browser. Fine. I am typing MAC address identifier. Fine. Okay, MAC address vendors. That's a website. There are many websites online. When you give the MAC address, it will say whom it belongs to. Let's say like you are giving my roll number. If I'm not wrong, I'll give you an example. My roll number at the university when I was doing my master's was CBN P2 CYS 12007. Yeah. See, this was my roll number at the university when I did my master's in 2012, 12 to 14, right? Okay. So this first part says, right, which is the campus, Coimbatore campus, Etimadai. And P2, it's a 2 years master's degree course. And this is my department, cybersecurity, and this is my roll number. So anyone who's working at the university or a college will be able to decode this. On seeing the roll number, you can say which candidate and from where they belong to. Same way, when we talk about something like a MAC address, as you see here, a 48-bit MAC address, you can get the MAC address, go online and check for MAC address vendors, put it there, search. It says, hey, welcome, Chongqing Electronics Co. Limited. When I type it, right, it goes to a vendor who have manufactured that chip, right? I'm using an HP laptop. HP laptop is using this device, network card, and the network card is having this MAC address. Fine. So if you want to try something different, I have a couple of MAC address, 55 and 56. One is disconnected. Maybe this might be my wired. I'm not connected over wired. It is the same from same manufacturer. But you see here, the first three, 74, 123, B3 will be the same. Now in my case, the second is also same, right? Let me copy this. Let me copy this. Let me paste it here. Let's paste it here. Yeah, where we are discussing about MAC address. So when you talk about MAC address, we split it into two. The first part will say like who's the owner of the MAC address, the manufacturer, right? Second part will say the serial number, right? Fine. MAC address is hexadecimal, right? So it's going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Right? It's going to have any of these values. Let's check. See, it's going to 74, 1, 2, B, C. It won't go above F, right? So in this, the first three octets will say owner. This is manufactured by a Chinese chip that belongs to HP, right? It belongs to the thing, it's HP. My serial number, unique serial number of my network MAC address device is this one. So the second one, let's check. I've got a laptop with two MAC addresses. Maybe one is wired and wireless. I've connected to you over my wireless connection. So if I'm not wrong, this might be my Wi-Fi. And this might be my Ethernet, ETH0. That is, we call it as wired connection, right? They're having the consecutive serial numbers, you know, right? Just like I talk about a serial number. My serial number is 12007. My other person will have 12008. There was many serial numbers available, right? There were, I remember, 12032. 32 candidates were there. If I put 12033, university will say, hey, there was no candidate. It's an invalid, right? Same way, if you're giving an invalid MAC address in any website, let's check. Instead of this, I'm typing something like, instead of 1, I put an F and change. It clearly says not found. Hey, you're trying to type something random, right? That MAC address is not found, right? Yeah. So that is the understanding about MAC addresses. System info, you remember we have seen earlier itself. What is system info? So these commands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe another 2. The top 10 commands, I've taken the top 8. Fine. Okay. So these are the basics. Whenever a candidate claims that they know cybersecurity, they know networking, they know how to connect between one Windows to another Windows, they should know how to troubleshoot. A virus comes, an infection comes. These are the basic things like a first aid or health checkup sort of things, right? So these basic Windows commands we need to know. Quickly, we'll see the Linux commands. After checking onto the ISO part, we'll check some basic Linux commands that every candidate has to know, right? Okay, we'll walk through something on this, the interesting part, fine. So everyone knows, right? Everyone might have taught, those who have taught some computer networks paper, ISO OSI layers, right? Layer 1 to 7, that is bottom up. Physical data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. If you talk top down, application to physical, right? So each layer has some protocols, n number of protocols. They will follow a standard, right? So the data will be transferred or hand off from one layer to the other layer. I'm opening my mail, I'm typing a mail, sending it to you. In my computer, there will be an application layer, there will be a till physical layer. In your computer, you are the receiver. You will have a physical layer in which the data comes in, and it will be displayed on your application layer. So center side, application to physical. The receiver side, it will be physical to application, right? So that's how it works in the model, right? To make it a bit descriptive or a bit clear, right? I have opened a tool called Wireshark. It's a network monitoring tool. I am selecting my Wi-Fi and I'm click on start. I'm capturing the packets. In network terminologies, you might have heard of packet, right? So you see here, it started populating. You see the packets are on the rise. 3000, 4000. See, I'm just connected over Zoom here. I've not done any other connections. But you can see UDP, TCP, ARP, different packets will be going here. Fine, let me stop it for a while. I've stopped it. TCP packets will be more descriptive. So I'm taking a TCP packet. Fine. And we'll understand ISO SLAS. And if I'm not wrong, right, I just recommend you to teach to your students about network ISO SLAS using this tool and the diagram which we regularly teach at the university, the 7 layers tools, hand in hand, parallel. Fine. So let's assume I've sent a mail in application layer. Let me zoom in. We'll initially see what is there on each layers. Fine. See, I have a browser, laptop, browser, Google Chrome, open gmail.com and type login. Fine. So the first layer, the top layer, application layer will say, hey, what the user is going to do, like the end user thing, right? You see the protocols that is named DNS, WW, HTTP, P2P, email, SMTP, fine. So that's the first layer. I want to send a mail to you. I'm opening my browser and started typing the mail. Fine. The next layer will do, that's not the work of the browser to take it to the sender and deliver it. Browser will do whatever you type and it will send off. It's a handoff to the next layer. The next layer is called presentation layer, right? It manages data representation and encryption. Let us say I'm using a Gmail. I'm not allowed to attach a exe file in Gmail. You see, 10-15 years ago, we can attach it. But lately, when they increase their policies on security and all, they restricted attaching a .exe executable file, the most common file a virus comes in, right? And all Windows uses executable files, right? So Gmail blocks exe files. When you try to attach an exe file, Gmail says, hey, wait, I don't allow you to just put this email file in the attachment. The second layer is called presentation. Presentation layer will decide the data representation. What data has to be there, what is allowed, what is not allowed. Either Gmail is allowing, your operating system is not allowing, your application is not allowing, right? So that is data representation. It also follows encryption, decryption, encoding, decoding. We call it as the whole of family of the data representation. We call it as MIME, M-I-M-E, right? So MIME is all about HTML, doc, JPEG, MP3, all file formats, right? So you write a mail, you check what to be added, what not to be added. You do encryption, decryption, encoding, decoding. That's on the second layer, presentation layer. Next layer is a session layer. It's not an actual session. It's a virtual session. There should be a connection between sender and the receiver. Then only the data can go, right? So it's not a continuous connection. It's not a physical connection. It's going to be a bits and pieces of virtual connection. Between the sender sending the mail, between the receiver receiving the mail, there should be a connection at some point of time so that the mail travels from the sender over the network and gets delivered onto the receiver. So session layer, we can imagine it to a movie ticket. What will be there in a movie ticket? Nowadays, we started putting movie tickets online, right? You get it in an SMS or a screenshot or an app message, right? What it is, we have printed tickets. The tickets will have the theater name, the show, the timing, validity, something, right? Same way the session will say what is the session, between whom the session is established, what is the validity of the session, any other parameters for that session, right? So the most common session protocol or SIP, session initiation protocol. When you take a traditional course like Cisco course, CCNA or something, right? You get to learn all these things. SIP protocol, RTP protocol, different protocols which facilitates the connections between the sender and the receiver. Fine. So that is on the session layer. Fine. After session layer, we talk about transport layer, right? The most common are TCP and UDP. And I remember way back 15 years ago when I started studying this, TCP means connection oriented. UDP means connectionless. I gave an example of TCP as wired connection, UDP as wireless connection. I got only 1 mark for the 2 mark because the second point was wrong. TCP is not fully wired, UDP is not fully wireless. TCP is connection oriented because it establishes a three-way handshake, SYN-ACK hack. UDP is connectionless because it doesn't have a handshake. It just throws the packet on the internet. Fine. So in transport layer, you'll be relying on the connections between the sender and the receiver. You might have seen this in the command which we typed earlier. Maybe in this command. Right. Netstat -ANO command. We have seen this. See, the connection is TCP. Now it is UDP. So many TCP and UDP connections are going in and out of my computer now. Fine. So that is on this transport layer. Next comes the network layer. In computer networks, we talk about packets, right? IP packet, ARP packet, ICMP packet. Just before some time we saw ICMP, right? Ping uses ICMP packet. We saw about ARP packet. We saw about IP config, IP packets, right? So network is between the devices talking. One networking device will talk to other networking device with the help of IP address, something the logical address so unique on the network layer. But that is not enough to complete the connection. We need to move further down to a layer called data link layer, where the IP address in conjugation with a MAC address. We say name and roll number. Same way your IP address and MAC address, both combined will create a connection established between the sender and the receiver. The final layer is obviously the physical layer. Zeros and ones, bits and bytes. The data goes on the wire, data goes on the Wi-Fi. You see at the bottom we use RJ45. So the RJ45 is the normal network card we use in colleges or companies or computers. Fine. So 802.11 is IEEE protocol. If you have got a chance to read about it, right? 802.11 is an IEEE protocol used for wireless connection. 802.11.5 is for, or 15 is for Bluetooth. Fine. So 802.11 is a networking standard. RJ45 is a physical standard for connecting devices. So I send an email in my application. The email attachments, encoding and everything is done in the presentation layer. A session is initiated from my side in session layer. It will choose which transport layer, TCP or UDP in this layer. It will choose which IP to use in this layer. It will choose which MAC address to use in this layer. Finally, it goes out of my computer. It travels all the internet in all the devices in between. It comes to you. You are the receiver. You are sitting in the US. Your computer will have a physical address, wired or Wi-Fi. Data comes in. Your computer will have a MAC address. It is recognized there. Your computer will have an IP address. It's recognized there. Your computer will say whether it's a TCP or UDP. Fine. Your computer will get a session, a virtual session between you and me. A virtual session is established. If the session is active only, the connection, if this session is active only, the whole of the connection will be active. So the session is active, so you have received my mail, fine, well and good. In presentation, you are opening it in your Gmail. It says, hey, the sender have attached a JPEG image. So you can open that image. And finally, on your browser, on your Gmail, the mail is displayed. Just like a fraction of a second, I send a mail, you receive a mail, maybe not less than a few seconds. This is how it works on the ISO-OSI layers. We teach what is application layer, give an example of a protocol. Fine, that's well and good for a 2 mark, an understanding of what is this networking layer. But keep in mind, either you or your students who want to get into cybersecurity profession, come into industry or do some R&Ds, right? So this is going to be the foundation. You need to clearly know what happens in these 7 ISO-OSI layers. So we'll just walk through the tool which I opened, Wireshark. a network monitoring tool. I'm taking a packet, an exclusive packet. Just a minute. For your understanding, I'm opening a magnifier so that it will be easy. I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, this should do 200, should do. Okay, fine. We are going to take a packet called 11,862. Time is 22 seconds. The packet came in. Source IP address is there. Destination IP address is there. It's a TCP packet. Packet length is 56. It is coming from my port number 7498 to your port number 443. If the packet is having acknowledgement, a sequence number is there. Acknowledgement for the previous is there. Window size is there. Length is there. This is a packet. So I'll come down the tool. And whatever you see here on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the extended version of ISO-AC, the TCP IP reference model, right? The 7 layers is split into 4 categories, right? So now let us walk through how it works. So the first layer is the application layer, right? So let's see what's there in the application layer. Okay, no, we'll go bottom up. That will be interesting. That's how it works. Physical layer, the data is there, right? So let me check what is the physical layer data. Each layer will have a protocol. Each protocol will follow a standard. Each standard will have different naming conventions, right? So the same data you have sent, the same email you have sent, in each and every layer, we call it as a PDU, protocol data unit. In each and every layer, this data, the so-called zeros and ones, bits and bytes, the data you send, will have a different naming convention. So on the last layer, the physical layer, the naming conversion is called frames, right? Frame number 11,862, 56 bytes of data went in, 56 into 8, 448 bits, right? So how it went via the physical interface or the encapsulation, the time when it came, see it's showing the current time, maybe 4:21 when the packet was captured, fine. So that will be there on the first layer, just like you see on the physical layer, right? The second layer is data link layer corresponding to MAC address. The second layer will have this one, Ethernet, fine. Source address, if you can correlate this, just a minute, let me zoom a bit. Okay, if you can correlate this with what we have seen before in the command prompt. We have seen the command prompt, right? Get MAC address. You see, the source, the sender's MAC address is this 7890 A2 EA 8D DA, fine. The destination MAC address is Chong Quing Fu. You remember this? This is my computer's MAC address, the HP MAC address, right? This is my MAC address, 55, ending it with this. So this packet is sent from someone else's MAC address, some devices on the network. It will show the adjacent device, right? To the receiver's MAC address, sender and receiver. And keep in mind, when we talk about networking devices, this is not, the sender's MAC address is not going to be the MAC address of the end user. Networking devices communicate to the neighbor device only. So when we communicate on the network, each and every layer, application layer, another data is added over presentation layer, another data over session layer, another data over transport layer, another over data link, another over physical, like a bulge one. Then in the receiver side, physical is removed, data link is removed, network is removed, transport is removed. Likewise, you peel the layer of the onion, it will be removed. Fine. So you see on the first layer, frames, bits and bytes, data is there. Second layer, Ethernet. Yeah. Second layer is the physical layer. Sorry, second layer is the data link layer. In data link layer, we have this sender's MAC address, receiver's MAC address. Fine. Third layer is network layer. Hopefully, it should have an IP address. Let us check. Internet Protocol v4, that's a layer. Source IP address 170.114.110.52. Destination IP address 192.168.1.20. Here I am the destination. I've got a packet from a source on the internet. IP version 4. I have something like a flag. You keep this in mind. Flag. Reserved is 0. Set to 0. Offset is empty. So this flag we'll be discussing in the upcoming classes. Attackers use this flag to do some attack. So-called XYZ cybercrimes or so-called XYZ hacks, right? Attacker used to manipulate IP headers they modify the flags so that they can do some attacks, right? Keep this in mind. We'll discuss when we are talking about flags. So that is about the third layer. Frames, first layer physical layer, second layer from the bottom, data link layer, Ethernet address, third layer from the bottom, IP layer, IPv4 or IPv6, here IPv4. Then we have the top layers. Let's check who are they. Transport, that is TCP and UDP, session, presentation and application. All these things will be clubbed together, and in packet we call it a payload. This is my whole payload. Payload says TCP. That what's the layer? Transport layer, right? TCP protocol, fine. Then it will say source port is port number 443, destination port is 749. These are all not the logical ports. Fine. Just a minute. Before we get deep into ports, we'll be seeing that anyhow. I'll just save here. PORTS. Computers operates everything in zeros and ones, right? Either in terms of binary 0 or 1. 2 power 0. So 2 power 0. 2 power 1, 2 power 2, it goes on like that, right? So there is a value for 2 power some x. The number corresponds to 65536. In computer, we treat it with starting 0. So 0 to 65535. This many number of ports are available in any device. It can be computer or network or mobile or whatever it may be. 0 to 1023. The first 1024 ports are called well-known ports. You know your receiver, right? So whenever you send the data to a receiver, you select the well-known ports from them. I am sending a file over FTP to you. I select the port number 21. I am sending a HTTP to you. I will select a port number 80. I am selecting HTTPS, the so-called secure protocol. I will select a port number 443. I am sending a DNS request. I will select port number 53. I am receiving the mail. I am sending a mail, SMTP. There are different IPs for mail addresses. I am typing the common IPs. Sorry, there are different port numbers for IPs. Mail addresses, SMTP. By default, they follow 25. The sender, POP3, the receiver of the mail will follow 110. Right? So these are the well-known ports within 1024. Right? So then 1024 to the X values will be the random ports. Fine. So this is about ports. A computer or any device will have this many number of ports, virtual connections. Imagine like a window. Your computer is having 65,000 windows to open. That's what a security device firewall will do. They will close all the ports and keep. They don't want the attacker to peep in or jump in, right? Yeah. We'll zoom in here. So TCP protocol, port number 443, that is my sender, the sender's computer port, and the receiver, my port number is 7498. I have a sequence number, acknowledgement number, like you send many things. Packet will have a sequence number, acknowledgement number and all. So that will be available here. And you see whole of the details. You see in the flag, finish, SYN, reset, push, acknowledgement, urgent. I mentioned about the flags, right? These are all the flags with which the attacker will play to steal some data or do some XYZ cyber attacks. Right? So to teach someone about network basics, typically the network foundation, we need to walk them through what is ISO ASA, just like you see on this PDF, right? All the 7 layers, that's well and good, fine. But we need to walk them not by definition. What is that layer? What is the purpose of that? Give an example of a protocol and say how it works in real world. We can just clearly map it within Wireshark. So if I'm taking another packet, 17142, right? You see this packet is from 170 to 192. I take the other packet from 180 to 170. See, it's a UDP packet. It's not a TCP packet. It won't have much of data here. The UDP packet will have only port numbers, sender and receiver. If you have taught a course on networks, TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless. That will be clearly seen here. Why it is UDP, why it is broadcasting all the packets, why it is TCP, why it is sending from one device to another device with unique identifier based upon IP address or MAC address or port numbers and all. Fine. Okay. Let's get back to the PDF. Okay, meanwhile, I've just covered one major part of this session. Basics of network, basic commands, and ISO SLAS. Till now, if anyone have a question query, I'm happy to answer. There is something populated on the chat box. Let me check. Okay, some instructions from the organizers. Fine, that's good. So is it good to go? Any questions, queries till now? Because this is going to be the strong foundation. Maybe in day 2, day 3, day 4, we'll be talking about attack, defense, and on. Every now and then I'll talk about MAC address, IP port, protocol. So obviously you need to know what is this, how it works. Fine. Any questions, queries on this? If there is a no, at least you can put a N in the chat box so that we can continue. I believe everyone is active. Or if you have any questions, you can also type in the chat box or unmute and speak. So the basics, the first part which we are going to cover on today is cybersecurity foundation, network and network security. We're not touching on network security, but the basic networking, right? So we need to know computer host name, IP address, MAC address, the NS lookup, the ports and protocols, these ISO SLAS, right? So this is going to be the foundation on the first line. Okay, anyway, as I said, I will share you this document. Fine. The team have curated some websites that works on live. You can check on to that. Fine. Okay, now we'll move on to the next concept. Okay, we have talked about networking. Everyone knows. So you have talked about the standard ISO, OSA, TCP/IP models from the sender to the receiver, how the data goes, how this is facilitated, right? How it works. Fine. So networking devices, fine. If you ask individual to talk about a networking device, I regularly ask in some interviews, right? Hey, give me some example network devices. Students will say, sir, switches, routers, hub are in the order, router, switches, and hub. So all are networking devices. Then what's the purpose of this, right? So there's a router available on the gateway level. There's a switch available, maybe on the building level. There's a hub. Nowadays, we don't use hubs, right? There's a hub available on individual level, right? So routers, switches, that's what I said, hub is not mentioned here. Routers, we imagine it like a four-way. Hope everyone lives in some city. We have a four-way. You go and stand on the center. You come from road number 1. There will be 3 other roads, right? Imagine, right? There will be 3 other roads. You are coming from road 1, either you need to move left, right, or straight. You have 3 possibilities. Let's assume, see, there's a police standing there. You want to say, hey, I want to go to Chennai, I want to go to Mumbai, or I want to go to Calcutta, right? They will redirect you. Hey, this route takes you to Mumbai. This route takes you to Chennai, right? Same way in networking, either it can be within the network. Mostly we don't use multiple routers within the network. Routers are to communicate between different networks. We use it on the internet. So imagine router like a 4-way. So you go and stand from one interface or one road. You ask which one to go next, right? You talk in terms of IP address and MAC address. You ask about which IP you want to go, which MAC address you want to go, right? And keep in mind, IP address, IPv4, IPv6, MAC address, as I said, like your name and roll number. IP is unique, MAC is also unique. Each one will have a purpose. If you go in depth, right? So obviously it will get converted to a traditional CCNA course. But there are lots of things to discuss on the foundation of IP and MAC address. But whatever you have seen till now about IP and MAC is more than enough for understanding the upcoming cyber concepts. Right? So a router is a networking device that's available on the gateway. You come in one interface, we call this interface is a connectivity. The router might have 4 interfaces. It will let you know which interface you want to go next. Let's say I'm in Madurai, down south in Tamil Nadu, right? I want to travel to Delhi. From Madurai, I go to Coimbatore, I go to Chennai, I go to Hyderabad, I go to, what is the next stop? Maybe directly to Delhi. Fine. So each and every place, imagine there's a router. A router will say which direction you want to go, right? Switches, imagine I want to go from one street to other street. I'm in this street number 1. I want to go to my city, another street. I search between the roads within my city. That is called switches, right? So switches typically talks with MAC address. Switch will store an ARP table, IP address and MAC address, but they will start, hey, which switch, which port, right? See, let us see some examples. Let me open it live on the internet. Find routers. Routers. Nowadays, routers are becoming fancy. We see some wireless routers, right? Let me check about routers wired. Okay, this is how it works. Fine, router will have an interface. Okay. See, these are the devices. If you're a faculty in your college, at specific places, you will see a network room. In that network room, you will be seeing devices, something like this, right? Mostly routers and switches, right? For example, routers, network room. You might be like astonished to see some LEDs, right? Amber, orange, sometimes red, blinking on the devices, right? Something a box like this, fine. Yeah, something like this, fine. So these are all called routers. Again, the lightweight version, the downfall version of the routers are switches. Router has a purpose. Wherever you want to use a router, you need to use a router. Switch has a purpose. Wherever you want to use a switch, you need to use a switch, right? So routers, network room, right? Network, switch. I want to take a 24 port switch, right? 24 physical ports, right? Fine, just a minute. Let me zoom in. Zoom. Okay. So this is a D-Link 24 port gigabit Ethernet switch. 4 into 2, 8. 8 into 2, 16. 16 plus 8, 24. See, 24 ports are there. So what do we do? 24 devices on the network can be connected to this. I am connected in port number 1. You are connected in port number 20. I want to send the data from my computer to your computer. So when the protocol exists, when the hardware devices are configured, switches, routers, computers, IPs, MAC, everything is configured in the right way. Data will directly go from my computer to port number 1 on switch. It will identify what is your computer, MAC address and IP address. It will send to the port number 22 or 24, exactly to which device your computer is connected. That's the purpose of switches, right? So let me talk about network, router, 4 interface. Maybe default routers will have some 4 interfaces. They are showing mostly wireless routers here. Fine. So let us check on to this. Okay, see here. The router is there. Getting PC1 wants to communicate to PC2. Sorry, 0 wants to communicate to PC1. PC0 goes to the router, asks where is PC1, goes to the another router of the PC1 and goes to PC1. In between, there may be switches and other devices might also be there. Just a minute. Okay, this is the purpose of routers, switches, firewalls, right? We are just slowly migrating to security concepts, right? Firewall is a networking device, yet another device. Nowadays, switches will have a firewall. Switches is integrated with firewall. Router is integrated with firewall. Firewall is going to monitor the traffic, incoming and outgoing traffic based upon some policies or protocols. Let us assume your college has a security. Security will allow someone who is having an ID card. Security will block someone who don't have an ID card, right? And they will take some actions, or else they won't allow them. Because the security have a rule saying that, hey, if there's an ID card, allow. If there's not any ID card, don't allow them. Block them and put them there, right? Same way, firewall can be hardware devices, just like you see a router and switch. Firewalls can be hardware devices. Firewalls can also be software, right? Windows has a Windows firewall. Different vendors, right? Let's check. Like if you are seeing this for the first time, let's check firewalls companies. There's quite a good number of common companies. You see here an extensive list that's available. Fine. Let me open. Most of your colleges or educational institution might be using any one of these. Fortinet, Cisco, Checkpoint, Juniper, Huawei, Barracuda, Sonic Wall. I remember my previous institution, they were using Sonic Wall firewall, right? So these are all different hardware and software based firewall, right? So what is the purpose of firewall? Let's check on to a 2-mark definition. Monitoring and filtering incoming and outgoing network traffic. Why it is done? To help secure network from unauthorized access. What does it mean? So-called hackers. It doesn't want any unauthorized. Authorization means you have a username, you have a password, you have the permission, you access it, right? So firewalls are the first of a kind of security device. Just a minute. Yeah. Just like your physical security standing in front of your college, right? These firewalls are going to allow unblock. For example, I'll give you a small example of a firewall rule. I'm writing a sample rule. Allow any connection from 192.168.1.0/24. Fine. If I'm writing a firewall rule like this, I'm writing a simple rule for understanding. I want to allow any connections coming from this network. I'm not selecting a single IP/24. I'm selecting the whole network. Fine. So if I'm, for example, if I'm typing deny any or all connections that are coming from 10.10.10.0 network/24, and I want to exclusively block the FTP connections, right? Right? FTP is for file transfer protocol. Fine. So this is how firewalls will be there. Firewall rules will be, it will allow or deny or take some actions based upon the rule. Hard-coded rules, right? That's what firewalls in nowadays are called dumb devices. No more we rely only on firewall for security. After firewall, there is an IDS, there's an IPS, there's a SIM, there's a SOR, there's an UTM. Nowadays we use so-called XYZ AI-enabled security devices. But firewall is the first and the well-known common security device. Still we use it in our computers, right? But it's meant for a purpose, right? For basic security, we use firewalls. Fine. Okay. Access points and modems, right? Another networking devices. I have an access point in my office, Apple, for giving internet. It acts as a hybrid modem, modulator, demodulator, right? Access points, wired and wireless. Fine. The generic devices. Okay, this typically looks like an interesting network diagram. Fine. So I'm connected on the internet. You see a broad scale laptop, 3G network, WAN, connected to a router. A router is going on the left, one company, going on the right, maybe another company. They have a firewall. Nowadays we use extended versions of firewall called NGFW. Next generation firewalls. We'll be seeing this when we are discussing in depth about firewall. For time being, keep in mind, firewall is a network device or a security device. It can be a hardware or a software used for basic security. Firewall is a dumb device or dumb application which can allow, deny based upon permission. Fine. If the student is using I'm not a student of your college, I take a ID card from someone else from your college, I put it, I walk into your college. The security has a general rule, allow anyone who has an ID card. He might not block me. Every day, thousands of students are going in and coming out. If there's an ID card, the security will allow. So the attacker knows clearly how to bypass firewall, right? Basic firewalls. Fine. So that is on this networking devices. Fine. See, use case, routers connected. Routers connect networks, direct data from switch packets, and on. Fine. Okay. So all these devices, routers, switches, firewalls. If you use a hub, and everything is used by end user. I have a laptop, I have a mobile, I have a PC, I have a server. We call it as endpoints. You see, whatever is connected at the bottom are endpoints, end devices. Even a printer might be connected on the internet, right? So these are all end devices. These are all networking devices. These are all security devices. Fine. Now, so you have a couple of websites, right? We'll check this mininet.org. Okay, a website to simulate this virtual environment. Fine. Let's check out the walkthrough. Okay, it's showing the same thing, right? Starting the Wireshark and just copying it and doing it. I remember whatever I showed in the demo, right? If you're doing it for the first time, you do it step by step. Open the Wireshark, enable it, give the command, check the packets, go on, fine. Same way a couple of other. For every topic, I hope we have listed some reference websites. If you're seeing this topic for the first time, you need to go to the website and check how it works. For example, app GNS3, right? App GNS3.com. As this is a part of an FDP, we have taken mostly, let me check, like some of the domains doesn't work. App GNS3. Yeah, the domain is gns3.com. Fine. See, for every topic, we have given some sample websites that works. Fine. You can just go and check what are the concepts. It will show you how a router works. Sometimes it will allow you to ask you to download and install. Sometimes it may be available live. Okay. We'll quickly refresh whatever we have seen, right? IP address and subnetting. Okay. IPv4, 32-bit address. IPv6, 128-bit address. Again, IPv4 we are using till date. We were using some years ago, right? But IPv6, right? So nowadays, you know, right? I remember a phone number. Let me type. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, 20925 was our old phone number in our house, right? After that, they converted to 620925. Fine. Then they converted to 620925. Fine. You see, way back in 2000, it was something like this. Way back in 2005, it was something like this. Way back in 2010, it became like this. 20925, 620925, 26200925. Fine. See different numbers, just an extended versions, right? Same way IP address is also IPv4 was there. 32-bit address, right? If you want, let's Google. 32-bit means it's called value of 2 power 32 is, let's check. 2 power 32, there's a number, you see a lengthy number. 21, just a minute. Okay. So 2 power 32, IPv4. See the number 42969679296. These many devices can be connected using a 32-bit IP address. Maybe till 2005 or 10, we were using IPv4, right? But lately, after internet got growing, we connected many devices. IPv6 came into existence. That's a study you can go and check in the Wikipedia page. Why IPv5 doesn't come? That's an interesting story behind that, right? So IPv6, currently we are using the current standard after v4 is 128-bit. It's going to be something lengthy like this. We'll see what is 128, right? Again, everything in computer is 2 power something. So 2 power 128 is, you will see a pretty lengthy number. You see here. Even everyone who's available on the internet, you see this number 340 if I'm not followed by 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. Yeah. 3.4 into 10 power 38, right? This many number of IPs can be used. Currently, we are using IPv6. There's a tunneling between IPv4 and IPv6 on the internet. If you are using an IPv4 in your system, it may go to your college network using another IPv4. But if it goes to Airtel or BSNL on the next level, they may be using an IPv6. There's a protocol to tunnel between IPv4 and IPv6 on the internet. It exists. So only there is not much transparent. We're not able to see IPv6 at all times. In local computers, we use only IPv4. Fine. But they coexist. When you keep ipconfig/all, it will show both your IPv4 and both your IPv6. Fine. Yeah, this is IPv4 and IPv6. Subnetting, calculating subnets. yet another networking course. I'll quickly explain you the website, right? Online subnet calculator. Visual subnet calculator. Okay, what is the need of subnet? Subnet is typically splitting a network into multiple subnetworks. Your college has 100 faculties, 24 computer science, 24 mechanical, 24 civil, 24 arts, and 24 law. Suppose the faculties are categorized or split in based upon their expertise, right? The whole of 100 faculties is subnet into 5 different categories or 5 different departments. So subnetting on the internet, irrespective IPv4 or IPv6, is splitting the whole network into subnets. For example, let's say you're paying and getting IPv4 is public IP and private IP. Private IP is only within your network. Anyone have a private IP? 192.168.172.10 dot. Public IP is you pay as you use. If you want a public IP, let's say your college will have 1 or 2 public IP, they will be paying it for the telecom. I will have a public IP 192.168.1.20 is my IP. Your computer might have 192.168.1.20 is my private IP. Your computer also will have a private IP, right? It's not meant for pay and use. See, public IP is you pay and use, right? Just like your telephone numbers. Let me give you an example of public IP. I'll give a fancy number 12.13.14.15. Again, this also has a limit. The IP ranges between 0 to 255, totally 256, right? So it can be from 0.0.0.0 to 0 to 255.255.255.255, right? So public IP, let me remove this subnet part. This is the public IP, right? I'll have a private IP, right? That is anyone can use, but it can be used, anyone can use, but it is only within the network, Imagine like an intercom. I remember I stay in the university where I was there working. We had an intercom number, intercom phones within used in the network. Intercom number 2000, it will take me to the canteen. I go outside for FDPs, right? I stay at another university. I was staying in their guest house. There I go and type the intercom number 2000. It will take me to the VC office. See, both phone numbers, intercom numbers, different places, take you to different places, because this canteen is accessible only within the subnet. This VC office is accessible only within the subnet. Same way in computers, private IP 192.168.1.20 is my private IP. You might have the same IP in your network, but I cannot speak with this IP outside my network. This private IP has to be converted to a public IP. When I'm using let's say I'm using Airtel, right? This is called NAT, network address translation, converting between one to other. Fine. So we are discussing about this subnet part, right? Fine. So this is private IP. Mask is given, update is given. So mask, you remember I gave it as 24, right? I'll give it on update. Okay. Divide. You see here, I'm giving a subnet. It is splitting me into 2 subnets. Imagine like the whole building is split into 2 classrooms, or whole floor you split it into 4 classrooms. So instead of 24, I give something like 31. Okay. It's going to have only this. When I split, you see the difference in the host and things. Host means in this subnet, I can use only one computer. In the first subnet, one computer in second subnet. Instead of 31, I give 28. The subnet mask and update, divide. I have 2 networks, and first network I can use 6 computers, other network I can use 6 computers. This is one IP, 192.168.0.0. I give another IP, 10.10.0.0. Another class of IP. I update it. Divide. You see here, 2, right? So the IP is also meant for a purpose. We call it as a classes of IP, class A, class B, class C. If I want limited networks, I use 122 network. If I want a greater network, I use 172 network. Fine. If I want even greater network, I use 10 dot network. Fine. So that is on this subnetting. There will be many websites for subnetting. Fine. The same subnet, I give it as 8 and go. See, it clearly says, hey, you are splitting a network size as 8, subnet address is given. What is the range of the IPs? What is the usable IPs? How many hosts I can have? These many hosts I can have in this IP range in this subnet. Instead of 8, I give 24 and give go. See, host is only 254. I give 30 and give go. Only 2 networks. If I give 31 or 32, go, it will become 1. Right? We don't want to use one device in a network, right? Normally we use 24 subnet. Fine. So each device, each network, you see, like you have a first year, second year, third year, right? In your college, let's say like you have CSE, first year, second year, third year. First year will have a class of 192.168.1.0/24. What does it mean? 192.168.1.0 to 255, right? So in the second class, you give 192.168.2.0. So second class will be using 2.02. They will be using something called 2.0 to 2.255. Fine. Same way you can fit this principle of, again, IP addresses are virtual IP address, right? IP addresses are always virtual. They are not physical. Virtual IP address, right? IP addresses are virtual. Right? So we are having a class of IP. So I am having 192.168.1.0 to 100. Let us assume I am having 100. I want to split it into 5 classes. What I will do? 192.168.1.0 hyphen 192.168.1. If I'm not wrong, it starts with 0, right? So it should end with 19. Maybe it will have 20 IPs. Then 192.168.1.20 to 192.168.1.39. Likewise, it goes on. Fine. So manually, I can write it. Fine. It's well and good. I know some basics of networking. This is called subnetting, splitting into subnets. But if you do it for bigger network, let's say you are a network admin or your student is going to go in as a network admin for a company. It's a brand new company. They are going to have a branch, 10 floors, each floor 100 computers, 1000 computers. They want to have 20 departments. They split it into 20 subnets. The student, those who join as a network admin or network security engineer, if they are going to start it from the scratch, they need to do this. They need to do this subnetting part, right? How to do a subnet. Nowadays, there are quite a good number of tools, GUI tools, or even AI tools available for subnet calculator. But keep in mind, when you go for an interview, the interviewer will ask about this. How many computers can be used in this subnet? How many networks can exist in this network, right? For that, we need to have a clarity about this IP and subnetting. If I'm not wrong, this will be taught in a traditional CCNA course, right? Subnet calculators, fine. There are a couple of websites, as I showed, for calculating subnets, fine. Network topologies, you remember, yeah, I still remember some 2 marks or 8 marks. Bus topology, star topology, ring topology. These are all in pen and papers, right? Bus, star, ring, mesh. Let me check. Bus, star, ring, mesh. Even still, we have a traditional networks course. We teach it at the college or university, right? These types of different topologies. But in real world, like in interview or in real world, like we don't use this. We don't ask questions on this. Very few ask on this because these are all not into existence. We are in the next level of networking and network security or not. Right? But still, the student has to have a foundation. What is the ring topology? They'll be having connection left to right. They transfer it from one to other. Nowadays, we use bus topologies. Networks will be bus topology. World Wide Web is a mesh topology. Every device will have a one-to-one or one-to-many connections to all the devices. Fine. Packet flow. You see packet. And there's a misconception. Packet is not all about network. Packet is in one layer. Right? We call it as a packet for identification. Like I have 2 Tiffin box. Same way you call it as a packet 1 and packet 2. That is only for the identification. See here on this. See frame number. Here you see the frame number 1 to 11,000 or something like that in Wireshark. So in habituated, right? So we got habituated saying everything in network is packet, packet, packet. But packets is available in only one specific layer, right? Other layers, the PDU will be different. It will be called as datagrams, it will be called as frames, it will be called in different other names. Okay, DNS, you remember, I hope we discussed about DNS. DNS is the translation between the domain name and the corresponding IP address. Most probably the IP address on the internet will be a public IP, fine. Okay, the network topology, beautiful diagrams. Okay, dnschecker.org, what is my DNS? Let us check this. dnschecker.org. Let me see what's there in that. I accept the cookies, obviously I need to. I am typing www.akmohan.in, my personal website. I hosted on that. I want to know the IP address of that. I'm checking on the internet. See, my website is available all over the internet because this DNS server is in San Francisco, Berkeley, somewhere on Canada, somewhere on South Africa, somewhere on Austria. Everywhere they are able to resolve. Resolve means they are able to find the IP address corresponding to this akmohan.in. Let us check it in the command prompt. Fine. Let's look up. Sometimes it might work. www.akmohan.in. If I'm behind a firewall or I use a security device, it might not clearly show my actual IP address. I hosted in a hosting provider. Fine. Let me check. Trace RT. Trace root is a command. www.akmohan.in. It's going to trace and let me know from my computer sitting in my office. You remember this, my IP, it's I found the IPv6 of the server where it is hosted, right? And it's taking from my local IP. If I'm not wrong, it will take my IPv6 of my local machine and it wants to go to akmohan.in. Hop means it will go one by one. Let's say I go to Chennai to Delhi, I want to go. It will go from one station to other station, right? So trace route, it will take some time. It will have n number of intermediate routes and on. Right? If I'm going a trace route for my IP, I'll show you trace route for 192.168.1.1, my router, right? It's loading. 10 microseconds, 2 microseconds, 3 microseconds. Just a minute. See, its trace route is complete. It has directly taken to my nearby. I have connected to my actual router. Within a hop, it is connected on the next node. It have taken. But this address which I hosted on hosting there might be available in US or Singapore. It will take some time to trace the IP, right? So that is on the DNS part, right? DNS is between domain name and the IP address. Fine. Online DNS checkers, you can check it. Use. Okay, we have seen the basics of Linux, right? So there are some online courses available for Linux. We have covered the Windows. I hope top 8 or top 10 commands in Windows we have seen. We have seen the basics in Windows. Whenever you talk about cybersecurity, you go and ask any student who is passionate about cybersecurity. They'll say, sir, I've learned hacking. I know what is Kali Linux, the so-called Linux for so-called hackers OS, right? Kali Linux. If you're hearing this for the first time, right? Kali Linux is an OS like your Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Ubuntu, Cent, right? So OS, dedicated operating system used for security testing. We call it as, we use it for red teaming. Students or enthusiasts, they call it as hackers OS. Fine. So this is completely operates on Linux, right? So we need to know some basic Linux commands. Fine. When we talk about a Linux, at least these basic things we need to know. Kernel, you know, right? Military has a kernel, right? Top commanding person. Same way, Linux is controlled by a kernel. It's the heart of the OS, right? It controls the hardware, software, all devices connected on the system, right? Then shell, we call it as a shell. You remember, like 10 shells are available. Each shell is unique, right? They are isolated by something, right? So in Linux, shell is typically, see, you are installing a PDF reader. It will be in a shell. You are installing another application. It will be in a shell, right? So you are having different users. Each user will be there in a shell, right? So shell is a concept in Linux for interfaces. Fine. Then file system, you know, right? You have a OS. The OS has a file system. The file system is stored on a hard disk. the hard disk is connected to your system. That's how it goes, right? Then everything in Linux is treated as a file. So that's an advantage. In Linux, we treat everything as a file. We can open everything like just like you open a text file, you can open everything. Each and every application can be opened as a file. Linux is command liner. Linux is case sensitive. Keep in mind, you type any command in Linux system. In Windows, it's not case sensitive, right? I'll show you a demo. In Windows, if I'm typing ARP-A, it works all in small. Okay, capital A, small r, capital B, hyphen capital A, it works, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry for the interrupt. Actually, we are done. It's already 5:15. Can we please wind up for the day? We'll like continue by tomorrow at 3 p.m.
That should do good, ma'am. Yeah, because we started a half an hour late, right? So no problem. Maybe some pending topics we can cover it tomorrow. That should do good.
Yeah, that's okay, sir. We can continue by tomorrow. So yeah, it will be from 3 to 5. So it's 15. That's fine, sir. No issues. We'll wind up.
Only thing pending for today is the Linux commands. Tomorrow, the first 10 minutes, I'll cover it. That should do good. I'll show you the top 20 commands. That should do good.
Yeah, that's okay. No issues.
Fine.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Any questions, queries from the participants? I'll stop my screen share now. Any questions, queries you can ask in the chat box. Yeah, fine. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you all from me today. So tomorrow we'll be seeing, I hope you might have got the syllabus in your dashboard or something. Tomorrow we'll cover the next 8 topics. We have slotted it as 15 minutes for a topic. Something might be extending, something might be reduced, but every day we'll cover 8 topics, 5 into 8, 40 topics, starting from what is network till advanced pen testing or ethical hacking. We'll cover each and every topic for 15 minutes talk. So thank you all. If there is not any further questions, queries, that's it from me for day 1. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable session. We'll meet again by tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah, so dear faculty members, I hope you all listen in the starting. Like 60% of attendance is very mandatory to get the certificate. So I request, please mark your attendance. The attendance link has been shared in a chat. Okay, one more thing. The student, if you are a student, if you are joined the session, for the students, we will not issue the certificate. If you secure 60% of attendance also, for the students, we will not issue the certificate. So you can join the session just for the knowledge purpose. As you all know, this is the faculty development program. That's the reason we will not issue the certificate for the students. Okay, yeah, we are good to go. We'll wind up for the day. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. We'll meet again by tomorrow at 3 p.m. The same link you can join. Thank you all.